What's going on, guys? I'm Jay the Black. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about Baltimore's favorite prosecutor, Marilyn Mosby. Well, she's gotten herself indicted for lying on a loan and mortgage documents. Now, of course, she's denying it. You know, she's calling in the troops, aka the race hustlers, to try to help her get out of this. But it's going to be tough because when you lie to the government, it does not matter who you vote for. They're going to come after you. I think people thought that because Trump was no longer in office, that stuff like this wouldn't happen, to where you have prominent black female prosecutors who is actually up for re-election this year getting in trouble like this. Oh no, the government comes after everybody, no matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. Now, sometimes depending on who's in office, you can have, like it is now with Biden's DOJ, he's just going at his enemy, seems like. But there are people who are defending her. They're acting like this is no big deal. They don't think that anything should come of this. And that's what has happened in our society. Y'all want these politicians, you want the police to be held accountable, but when they are held accountable, you want to talk about how we shouldn't be talking about this. This shouldn't be news. Why? How come y'all only want certain people held accountable? You want police officers held accountable. You want people who don't agree with you politically to be held accountable. When you have Marilyn Mosby, you might as well call her America's favorite prosecutor because of what she did in the Freddie Gray case, right? And she took full advantage of it, looking at what she was doing financially. Now, maybe in her mind, she didn't think like she did anything wrong, her and her husband. But in the government's eyes, you did do something wrong. And we're going to get into it. Let's get into this article. A federal grand jury has indicted Baltimore's top prosecutor, Marilyn J. Mosby, on charges she lied on a mortgage loan application to buy a Florida property and made false statements to obtain a CV-19 related withdrawal from her retirement savings that was used for the purchase. Because y'all know a lot of people was lying to get PPP loans. I'm going to tell you something right now. If you lied about getting COVID benefits, you're in trouble, no matter who you are. The cloud of indictment has loomed over Mosby for nearly a year since federal prosecutors issued subpoenas in March for a wide range of financial records from her and her husband, City Council President Nick Mosby. Marilyn Mosby is now charged with 4 felonies that could bring prison time, and with her election for a 3rd term coming in June. That would be embarrassing. The indictment alleges that Mosby, who's 41, sought a $40,000 withdrawal from her city retirement account in May of 2020, citing that she had experienced financial hardship due to the pandemic. In fact, her salary that year actually increased by $10,000 to $248,000 a year. So she's making $248,000 a year, but she's saying that she's having a lot of financial hardships. Mosby had not experienced adverse financial consequences stemming from the CV pandemic as a result of being quarantined, furloughed, or laid off, or having reduced work hours, or due to lack of childcare, or the closing or reduction of hours of a business I own or operate. All prerequisites for obtaining the loan, which Mosby attested to under penalty of perjury, federal prosecutor wrote in the indictment. So she lied about going through financial hardships in order to get that loan from the government, the same government she basically works for. I'm telling y'all, don't matter who you are. If you took money or if you lied to the government about the CV-19 money and or you having to leave your job or it cost you business, they're coming after all of you. That money had basically a paper trail attached to it. And they were going to find each and every one of these people that applied for loans, And they're going to go and they're going to dig for information to see if you actually needed that loan. I think Marilyn thought that she could get whatever loan she could get and that they wouldn't come back at her for it, but they actually did. And I think that might have caught her and her city council leader husband off guard. Her attorney, A. Scott Bolden, pledged to fight the case, and he again accused prosecutors of harboring a personal grudge against her. What personal grudge would they had against her? She's a Democrat, okay? You have a basically Democrat government. I mean, they have the same progressive ideals. So why would they be going after her? Is she not prosecuting enough black people? Like what? Y'all know how much Democrats love prosecuting black people, no matter what they try to claim after, But I mean, what ill will and what could she have done to piss off the federal prosecutors? What has she done except for maybe lie, right? Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like these politicians are not corrupt. There's a ton of corrupt politicians in this country. Just look at Baltimore. Baltimore is full of corruption, which is very ironic about this situation. Baltimore is a very corrupt city still to this day, with a lot of corrupt, do-nothing politicians. And a lot of them may feel like they can get away with certain things. But are they picking and choosing? They might be. Maybe Marilyn isn't as progressive as they want her to be. Maybe that's the grudge that they're harboring against her. We will fight these charges vigorously, and I remain confident that once all the evidence is presented, that she will prevail against these bogus charges that are rooted in personal, political, and racial animus 5 months from her election. Oh, now they're making it about race. Come on, people. I don't want to hear none of this. She's a black female in Baltimore. Baltimore has other black politicians. Miss me with the she's black and they want her gone. This is a Biden administration. This is a non-racial administration. You can't blame Trump and the Republicans for this. Look at the people who are running the government right now. These people are doing their job and they're going after people who lied to them to get money out of them. That's what they do. Okay? This is nothing new. Now, maybe she's not being 100% honest right now about why they're coming after her, quote unquote, but she's a Democrat who's a progressive. And what exactly is she doing that would have them coming against her? Is it the conservatives? Are the conservatives coming after her? The case against Mosby has been a matter of much public debate and speculation. Federal authorities kept silent about the case for months. They did that on purpose. Even as her lawyer publicly demanded answers from them, the criminal charges are narrowly focused to withdrawals from her retirement savings and her purchase of the Florida property. The indictment, however, provides no clues as to what prosecutors were after by issuing subpoenas to a city dance studio where the Mosbys sent their children, to black churches where the Mosbys gave money, and their private companies and election campaigns. The indictment is more telling for what is not in the indictment rather than that is in there, Bolden said, noting the charges of perjury and making false statements relate strictly to her retirement withdrawals and Florida property. See, let me tell y'all something about the federal government. The federal government doesn't go after people without having receipts. The government has a lot of receipts, and they probably have more information on her that they have not released. If the government thought they would lose to her in court, they wouldn't go after her. They wouldn't go after her if they felt like they would lose the case. They feel like this is a very winnable case, and that's why they're going after her. Now, I could be wrong. Marilyn could win this and prove that she did nothing wrong, and that maybe this is a way to get her out of that prosecutor spot. But it's interesting that in a city as corrupt as Baltimore, who, just let corruption flow, that they'll just come after her. They wouldn't come after anybody else. She's a Democrat progressive. She pushes this. She pushes the same narrative these other Elijah Cummings, all the other people there. So why are they so desperate, quote unquote, to get her out of there? What is she not doing that they want her to do? He called these charges a far cry from the criminal tax evasion and tax-related charges that were the heart of this federal investigation. More importantly, Ms. Mosby has never lied or made a false statement in connection the allegations contained in the charging document. The indictment says Mosby received $36,000, which she then put toward a down payment on a rental property near Orlando, Florida. But prosecutors say in purchasing that property, she lied about having a federal tax lien and falsely said the property was a second home, which lowered the interest rate. So basically, she was playing real estate games. They try to get stuff at the cheapest amount, right? She had already lined up a management company to utilize it as a short-term rental, the indictment says. And that's the indictment here. This is all public record. I'll leave a link to this from the Baltimore Sun. I'll leave a link in the description box. Y'all can check it out. Mosby was elected to become the city's top prosecutor in 2014 and rocketed to national prominence by bringing charges in the passing of Freddie Gray and pushing progressive policies. She was reelected in 2018 and is up for reelection this year. Supporters have said she's been targeted for her progressive policies, and black leaders are often unfairly targeted for investigations, blah, 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 blah. Benjamin Crump, blah, 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 blah. No one cares what this ambulance chaser has to say. Let me tell you something, man. If the federal government think they're going to take an L in this case, they wouldn't bring any type of charges towards her. I mean, we're definitely going to see. We're going to see how far this goes. But she is up for re-election in June. Why would they come after her out of all the people that they can come at? And they're saying it's because she's black. When you have a city full of black politicians, why haven't they going after them? Why are they targeting her if she felt like she has done absolutely nothing wrong? All I'm going to say is the government is not going to go after anybody that they don't feel has done something or they think they're going to lose that case. But we'll see. Let me see in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll see you on the next one.